My name is Colby Baker, and I will be informing you on how the BCS system works and why the two teams that play in the national championship game are chosen. Have you ever been mad that your team did not make the national championship game? Many people get upset when their team doesn't make the big game, and they begin to blame the BCS system when they don't fully understand how and why things work the way they do. BCS rankings are made up of 3 different polls: the Harris Interactive poll, the coaches poll, and the computer rankings. The first poll is the Harris Interactive poll, and it consists of 115 members of former players, coaches, and administrators. They all vote on all the football teams in Division I schools, and they rank them accordingly to how good they are. First place would receive 25 points, second place would receive 24 points, third place would receive 23 points, and so on to 25, and 25th place would receive 1 point. All schools above 25 would receive 0 points. Now, all 115 members vote on all the schools, so at the end of the day, a school would have 115 votes. And you would add up all 115 votes and divide that number by 2,875. 2,875 is the maximum amount of points that a team could receive in the Harris Interactive poll. So if a team receives all first place votes from all 115 schools, they would receive 2,875 points. So you divide that by 2,875. So a perfect score would be 1. 2,875 divided by 2,875. But that doesn't happen, so mostly a good school would have a score of about 0.98 because they'd have a little less than 2,875 because all the members wouldn't vote that school first. But the Harris Interactive poll is an important factor, but not the only factor in the BCS rankings. Another poll is the coaches poll, and it is made up of 59 coaches in Division I schools. And they rate the teams the same way as the Harris Interactive poll. First place gets 25 points, second place 24 points, and so on to 25, which receives 1 point. And you divide those total scores of those 59 coaches by 1,475, which is the maximum amount of points that a team could receive in the coaches poll. So if all 59 coaches voted the same team first place, it would receive 1,475 points. And you divide that by 1,475, and you'll get 1, which is the highest score you can receive in any poll that we're talking about today. So the third factor in the BCS ranking is the computer rankings. And the computer rankings is a little bit more complex than the last 2 polls we talked about. The computer ranking actually has 6 different computer rankings within one. And it measures strength of schedule, wins and losses, performance throughout the season, if the games are played home and away. It takes in so many factors of the game and puts them into rankings and ranks the teams in 6 different ways. So at the end of the day, in the computer rankings, a team will have 6 different rankings from all 6 different computer rankings, and you take out the lowest and the highest. So you'll have and you average out these numbers. So the average of these numbers would be 2, and 2 stands for second place. So the team would be awarded 24 points. And you would divide 24 by 25, which is the highest number that a team can receive in the computer rankings. And if a team was voted first, they would receive 25 points. And you do 25 divided by 25, which would be a perfect score of 1.0. But that rarely happens, so 24 divided by 25 would be 0.96, which is a score for a good team. Now that you have 3 scores from 3 different polls, you would average them all out to figure out the final score in the BCS rankings. So you would take the score. This is perfect scores from each of the polls. You would take a score from this one, and this one. You'd add them all up, and you'd give you a final number, and you divide that by 3, and the final score would be 1.0 if every coach in every poll voted you first place. But that rarely happens. That's never happened, but it could, theoretically. But a good school would receive about 0.98 if they're really good, and that's how they're ranked in the BCS system. The BCS seems very complex if you look at it as a whole, but if you break it down into 3 simple groups, it's really not that hard to understand. The Harris Interactive poll, the coaches poll, and the computer rankings make up the BCS rankings that choose the top 2 teams to play in the national championship game.